the sidelines. Has a man wide open. It's tipped. It's picked off. MJ Devonshire. Got space. He's going to take it to the end zone. Pittsburgh takes the lead.
He loves those moments. It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John's. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell 3. You know, we're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin.
Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky, joined by my two wonderful co-hosts, Mason Kling, Kent Vanderwood, back from New York. They were not killed for their lack of Timberlands on their feet. First off, how was the trip? We're going to talk football later, but how was the trip to New York?
Trip overall, great trip. Game could have been a better outcome, but overall, trip worth it.
Yeah, the game really made that 3.5-hour drive back with a hangover a hell of a lot worse, but wouldn't have been ideal either way. So,
Right. Okay.
Thanks, Pitt football.
Listen, as of the time of recording, it is only 10 more days until we are free of Pitt football, and we don't have to think about it at least for – actually, no, the transfer portal will be open, so we'll have to think about it, but we don't have to really watch it for another – we don't have to pay that close attention for a while. Before we get started tonight, real quick, plug the pod account. If you like the show, follow us on your podcast app of choice. Give us a 5-star rating. It does help us out. And follow the podcast on Twitter at SimplifyPod. First up on the slate, Olympic sports, because they're popping. First up, volleyball has got the biggest match of the year versus Louisville at home, 1 p.m. on Saturday at the Peterson Events Center. They're trying to pack the Pete. It's going to be a big game. If you remember, earlier in the season, Louisville swept Pitt in Louisville, 3-0. They've still got their two best players from last year. That would be the libero, Alana Scott, and Anna DeBeer, which is all-time last name at the outside hitter. So this is going to be like game of the year of the century for the ACC title. Go to this game if you can. I cannot make it, unfortunately, but I'd love to be there.
Shout out volleyball.
Shout out volleyball. Two other quick shout outs. Women's soccer was a 7 seed in the women's NCAA tournament. They won 6-0 at Ohio State. That's a football score. Very nice. We beat Ohio State 6-0. Don't ask about the score. Their next game is 7:30 on Tuesday at Arkansas. It was the number 2 seed nationally. And then men's soccer got chosen for the NCAA tournament. They're home against JMU in the first round, 7 p.m. Thursday. So my question to you about this game is, well, one, I'm scared because it's JMU, and JMU is on a record year of beating programs it shouldn't beat. But do you think there are more people at the soccer field on Thursday night or the football game?
There should be more at the soccer field.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many does the soccer field hold?
I believe it's 5,000, but I'm going to double check that. Let's see. Ambrose Urbanic Field, Wikipedia.
Pitt will have 2,000 fans in the stands and announce the attendance is 12,000. So
you count season tickets as people being there. That's how it works. So the capacity listed on Wikipedia is 735 people. I think they can hold a little bit more than that. We're going to investigate this a little bit later, but shout out to soccer, shout out to volleyball. Go fucking watch those games.
Everybody's going to be watching Ravens Bengals, actually. It's the first good Thursday night game in a while. So
Maybe ever. It feels like with the load of crap we've been fed the past couple of weeks. But
pretty much the first game without the Jets on primetime this year.
But if for whatever reason you want a Jets level visual appearance in your living room. Put the Pitt game on.
I don't know why I'm catching all these strays today. Izzy Anakanda was just activated to the Jets roster, so obviously they're not losing another game. He's going to run for a gazillion yards, and personally, I take these words as offensive and attacks. I'll be muting your microphones from now on the second I hear something about the Jets because I can't take it.
Izzy to the hizzy is exactly what Zach Wilson needs right now.
Bro, there's what Zach Kaminsky needs right now. Okay. Let's move on to basketball, shall we?
Yep.
Please.
Okay, quick recap of the scores since we last talked to you all. Win versus Binghamton last week, 89-60, and a win versus Florida Gulf Coast, 86-74. I wasn't able to watch any of the Binghamton game. Did you guys catch on it? Have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, Mason and I actually watched this. We got to New York just in time to basically watch this entire game. Yeah, they looked really good on Friday night. Obviously, it's Binghamton. They covered easily. Pretty much just dominant in that game.
Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot more overreacting because it was kind of a similar outcome to first game of the year. But it was you got a lot of the same stuff from Bub Carrington. You got a lot of the same stuff from Fetty. It was one of those that they take care of business. Good teams take care of business and beat the teams they're supposed to, and that's what they did. That's my take on it.
Blake Hinton had a bigger game than the first game. That was sort of a observation, I guess, from the second game. A little tough to remember after just playing, a third game. But.
Yeah, so I think the main storyline here is that third game, the home win against Florida Gulf Coast. So this was obviously a big step up, or definitely I don't know if you call it big, but a noticeable step up in competition. Like Florida Gulf Coast was better than both the previous two teams we played, and they still got a 12-point win. And even though it got hairy in the middle there, overall the team looked pretty good on Monday night.
Yeah, they still put up, I think, 84 points, and they did not shoot the ball well in this game. Either half, it was like going into halftime, it was like they didn't shoot well. They missed a lot of free throws. They missed a lot of threes that they're used to making. And they still went into the locker room with a 10-point lead at halftime. Like, you had to feel good at halftime based on how much better it could be. Just if they had knocked down some more shots that they normally do. Just one of those games, or they didn't have it. Kind of expected them to hit more of those in the second half and kind of take over and dominate, and they never really got to that point. They went through some streaks where the shooting got better, and then some kind of where it went flat again. And overall, it was about the same as the first half. But I was just happy to see the fight in them, not to let it get too close ever. They were always pretty comfortably like 8-ish points ahead, at the least. So, yeah, Carrington, I know this is important to a lot of people, including myself, hits a logo 3 at the end of the shot clock on Pitt's last full possession of the game to cover -9.5 and -10.5, depending on what spread you got it at. But that was sweet.
Did they comment? So admittedly did not watch the game, so I'm gonna ask you guys a couple questions about some stuff I saw from the box score, and from highlights and whatnot. But did they comment about that at all during I know it's kind of like a no-no for college sports, but
yeah, I don't think they really mentioned it. I was too busy yelling in my living room. Because, yeah, it was a sweat. It was when they were up at 10 at halftime. It was like, okay, as long as they win the second half, like the spread covers, whatever. So they're now 3-0 against the spread. But going in, it's like, all right, they're 2-0 against the spread. Like, I'm easily taking a 10-point dub over this team. But yeah, when they were not shooting well, it became a bit of a concern. And then, yeah, I'm sure I saw some tweets from some other people, very similar situation, a very similar reaction that I had, but That was deeper than Blake Hinson range.
Yeah, I don't remember them saying anything, but I think it was just because like the shot was so ridiculous that they were just in awe of the shot and didn't even have time to process like what the line was or anything like that. Like you said, it's also a no-no in college sports, but it was just so ridiculous that they did not even think about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, something that another thing I kind of saw going around Pitt Twitter was that one of the things that was even better than us covering the spread for monetary purposes was the fact that we played them closer, Indiana had a closer game with them than we did, which kind of goes to show what you said earlier, Zach, that it was a pretty big step up in competition. They can still play with the big dogs, and we, even on kind of honestly an abysmal shooting night, like weathered the storm and got the dub.
Yeah, it's important to have some of those games early on that you can face some adversity. I'm kind of glad, as much as it would be nice to blow out all these teams before we get into conference play by 25, it's probably good to have a game where you face a little adversity like that. And it's not your night necessarily, both at the foul line, missing a lot of free throws, and, Hinson's missing 3. Like, we were getting some good looks, especially in the first half, that just were not falling. So yeah, to have them kind of go through a game like that and still find a way to win by double digits against a better team is sweet.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to have a team that's good at free throws? Is that ever going to be something that Pitt basketball has, or are we just cursed forever with fickle free throw shooters?
So I want to touch on that real quick because you guys brought it up a couple times. So, Pitt was 8 of 28 from deep. Like, Blake Hinson was 3 of 10. And I mean, Blake Hinson can be streaky, but 3 of 10 is usually like, that's a bad Blake Hinson night. If that's going to be the first bad night, I'm glad that it was in this game and not one of our upcoming games we're going to talk about. But as far as like the free throws go, like there are some culprits that you can point out because Bub Carrington was 7 for 7 from the stripe, but Guillermo Diaz-Graham was 0 for 2. And I think the one thing that really concerns you about this team is that Fede was 1 for 6 from the stripe.
Yeah.
And Fede is going to get fouled in more important games because, I mean, you see what they can do with him down low. They can move guys off of him using their more athletic guards, pass it to him down low, and he'll get fouled like that. When they can't oop it to him, they're going to have to foul. Like, they can foul him, and that's really, like, Blake Hinson, it'll work itself out. He's not going to go 3 for 10 every night, but Fede going 1 for 6 from the stripe, that's where you start to be like, like, that could be a problem.
For sure, yeah. And it actually got to the point where they intentionally fouled him. They ended up calling a flagrant because it was early enough and aggressive enough. They called it a flagrant, and he missed both free throws. It was like clear it was not his night from the stripe. So yeah, that's definitely not something you would like to see at this point. Hopefully they just get it worked out in practice. I think overall he can definitely be a better free throw shooter than that, and he is. Might have gotten in his head a little bit after he was poor early, but we'll see.
He's on the Steph Curry drill, just 100 free throws after every practice until things improve.
Another observation from this game that was like a potential weakness as we play some better competition. Obviously, we have some height. We could still use some more weight down at the block. I think Florida Gulf Coast Center definitely had a weight advantage, a little bit of a height disadvantage, but was just pretty much backing down Fede and the Twins to the point where they kind of had to double a lot. It led to some open layups, open guys, open buckets for them off the double teams, to pass out of the double teams and that kind of stuff. So, teams will kind of watch that film, and that's one way to kind of attack the Pitt basketball team this year too.
Yeah, you definitely saw that the most when FGCU made it close in the second half, right? When Fede had, it was either 3 or 4 fouls, and they had Guillermo in on that center, and you could just tell like he was getting worked. That's how they brought the lead that close, and they did adjust by moving double teams onto the center to protect the paint. But like you said, just interior defense was not the best when you step up in competition. I will say though, we're talking a lot of negatives, and this is a win. Just want to go over some quick positive observations before we talk ourselves into losing every other game this season. Ish Leggett, those alley-oop passes were beautiful, and like he threw that one full court pass to Fede on a fast break dunk, like that was awesome. And then, I mean, the story of the night is Jalen Lowe finally really stepping onto the scene and showing that he can be a compliment to Bub Carrington. I mean, Carrington played 37 minutes and Lowe played 15, but I mean, they even had them on the court together at some points. Like he got off to a slow start against Binghamton and A&T, but he showed you what he can do really, and that's what we want to see from a freshman.
Well, It's also tough, like when you have Bub Carrington dropping a triple double in his debut, and then you got to remember he's still a freshman. Like because I think because that happened, we're like, oh man, what is this Jalen Lowe guy? Like slow start, but he's doing fine. He's stepping into his role, like you said. Definitely cool to see that kind of duo now in the backcourt.
Yeah, no, it was definitely good to see him have a good game because he definitely struggled especially just from the field, just shooting the ball the first couple games. Nerves obviously to play a part, but yeah, it was good to see him settle in, and he stepped up. When your star players are not hitting their shots, it's cool to see a guy like that step up in that sort of moment and have a game for himself. And without him having a game like that, we may not win that game. So cool to just see different guys step up. When some of the guys that you're used to relying on don't have it. So,
one of the other things I noticed just looking at the box score, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Fede finished the game with 8 boards. And I looked at that a little deeper. I'm pretty sure 6 of them were offensive rebounds.
7 and a 6-1 split.
Which is, I don't know, that was just crazy to me. Was he just a monster on the boards these games?
He was really good down low in this game. And I think that's obviously the free throws are an issue, but seeing him being able to rebound like that, and he didn't really have to get a lot of defensive rebounds. That task mainly went to actually Bub Carrington, Blake Hinson, and Ish Leggett. But the offensive rebounding for Pitt was pretty bad last year. They got boxed out a lot, and to see Fede grown as a player, obviously he learned some stuff playing for the FIBA team for Finland. Yeah, that he was definitely a presence on the boards there. And, he had 6 offensive rebounds, which is, more than actually the team total for Florida Gulf Coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good showing. The other thing was Zach Austin might be able to jump higher than any human ever, possibly. That one block that he had that Pitt posted a couple clips of today, his head up at the rim, that was ridiculous.
He's an athlete. He is going to go up and get that ball. Another defensive thing this is more in the second half when he got his playing time, but Will Jeffries is kind of like a defensive specialist, I think, because he had a couple plays where he forced a turnover, got a block, he's kind of coming into his own there. He only had 2 points, but just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, Capel was head over the moon about Jeffers after this game, just about his defense. I think Pitt also posted a few clips of him, a few possessions in a row, or somebody did on Twitter. I saw it today. But yeah, he was an animal defensively in this game off the bench. So the cool thing that it feels like about this team, obviously we've had teams with kind of chemistry issues. It feels like guys are buying into their roles a lot on this team, and if Jeffress is gonna be that type of role for Pitt, if he's not able to necessarily if he doesn't need to be a scorer for them and he accepts that, and just this is what's gonna help us win. I think a lot of guys are kind of buying into that and buying into their roles for a winning team, which is sweet. So
no, that's actually really cool. I hadn't really thought about that, Kemp. You are 100% right. And you saw a little bit of it last year with kind of all those transfers coming in and buying in. But we kind of knew that was going to be like a year, like one and done kind of thing. To see it with the younger guys and like building on that is that it'll actually be really cool to see like a program grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't echo that point enough. Like you guys said, like it might have been easier to sell the transfer guys because like you tell them, hey, you're coming here for a year to do this thing. Like you tell Sabandy he's going to be the sixth man in this rotation. You tell everyone else what their role is going to be. But guys who have been in the program like Jeffries, these freshmen, the Diaz Graham twins. I mean, seeing Fede just embrace his role as the team's big man, it is awesome to see. And like, you just want to see it keep rolling. And is it time to? Do we have anything else in this game? We just want to look forward to the schedule right now.
I think we should just spend a second talking about just how good Bub Carrington is. Dude,
Don't forget daily Bub Carrington reminder.
I mean, it's like we're 3 games in and we're talking like national attention, like people talking about him being a one and done first round type guy.
Well, he got the ACC Freshman of the Week, right?
Yeah.
For his opening week.
So I mean, John Rothstein, very much radar on him. Tweeted about him, I think, the last 2 games now. I don't know. Just some big names in college basketball are taking notice at this point. So we'll see. But he's fun to watch. So
there are so many other good things about this game that are like, and we got so used to the excellence of Bub Carrington that I just kind of forgot. It's like, oh, it's normal. He played a great game. Whatever. Totally forgot. That's my bad. I apologize to Bub.
No, you're good. But yeah, in a game, yeah, especially he was consistent at the foul line. He went 7 for 7. Like when the rest of your team is struggling, like yeah, I don't know. He's the real deal, man.
Thank you for keeping us grounded and doing our Bub check, Kent.
Yeah,
dude. If he's got that Blake Hinson range, that is a fun thing to think about. If you have to defend 2 guys who can shoot nuclear missiles from the other side of the court, and like honestly, that he had like a halftime, like 3/4 court chuck, looked kind of close. I mean, you have to defend that. You got Fede down low. You have Ish Leggett, Zach Austin. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he takes the ball to the rim, well, and finishes strong at the rim, and can also pull up and hit a really smooth jump shot right in your face. He can pull up from 3 and knock it down. Like he's got a bunch of tools to use against you. Right now he's averaging what, 18?
I don't have that pulled up right now. Let me see if I can check.
It's probably averaging.
It's something like that.
18,
Yeah.
7 and 7 right now. Like,
is it 18, 7 and 7?
That's my guess off his first 3 games. I think that's his average.
I looked up Pitt team stats and it gave me the Pitt football stats. I had to look away.
You guys, I can look for it maybe if you.
It is 18, 6 and 7.
Dude, that was I mean, it's pretty spot on. But
I mean, I think
3 games, and I'm pretty sure it's been right around that each game, so it's not that impressive.
Yeah, I think it was 18, 7 and 7 after 2, and it just shows how consistent he is. That one game where the offense wasn't as good, or he didn't rebound as much, and it only knocked him down a single rebound. So
ask me blind in January what his averages are, and then if I get that right, then it's impressive.
Okay, all right.
Rain Man, Kent's Rain Man.
I will say you said something about Bub's ability to drive to the basket, and I think that applies to Jalen Lowe too. Like the guys we had last year were very much more comfortable shooting from like the arc or like long 2-pointers. Their ability to drive to the basket is what's going to make this team better and what makes this offense more dangerous this year. Just in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. There was one drive in particular he had this game that was like a nice reverse layup. He knocked down some 3 balls too. So I mean, yeah, he has it. So yeah, we'll see. But you kind of knew going into our first game, it was like, okay, We got a couple freshmen coming in. We'll see how they look. And so far, yeah, I mean, it was good to see Jalen have a good third game. We'll see how it goes moving forward.
Yeah, so moving forward, take a look at the schedule. This Friday, we've got Jacksonville coming to town. And then there is a 5-game stretch where we're going to learn a lot about this team. So after Jacksonville, the next 2 games are the NIT tip-off in New York City. First game is against Florida. The second game is against either Oregon State or Baylor. Then after that, you come home. That Tuesday is against Missouri in the ACC SEC Challenge. Next home game after that is against Clemson. And then the end of the 5-game stretch is going to West Virginia on December 6th. I believe West Virginia's best player will still be out at that point, but like this is, for all intents and purposes, a murderer's row. And I mean, if you come out of this stretch like 3-2, you did well. Anything better than that this is a team that's completely fucking serious this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think Pitt right now, when I checked the odds, they were plus 500 to win that NIT tip-off tournament for anybody interested.
I might know a guy.
So, yeah, some of us might be trying to win some money out there. But, yeah, no, it's a pretty sweet stretch because you don't play any straight juggernauts, but you're playing some decent competition 5 games in a row, some legit D1 Power 5 competition. And yeah, like you said, it's going to say a lot about this team. Tell us a lot about this team. My hopes for this team are better than 3-2, but I'm also through the roof right now about this team. So we will.
Yeah.
I'll have to temper my expectations. So I think 3-2 is reasonable.
Yeah, and I think like it just trying to keep the expectations reasonable because like you look at those 5 to 6 teams, right? You don't know which one of Oregon State or Baylor you're playing. Like all 6 of those teams are like you could see any of them making the tournament. And I think that's why it's going to tell us so much because if we're playing against tournament teams and we still, if we win the majority of these games, like, okay, we can do this thing. But, I'm excited for it. A lot of good basketball coming up.
Yeah, I know it's a little early for like the Ken Pom and all those. Everybody's got a different system that they use to rank college basketball, but I'm pretty sure that both Florida and Missouri, right?
Florida is currently ranked 42nd. Missouri is ranked 63rd. Pittsburgh is 48th. What's Baylor? Baylor's 10th.
I was going to say Baylor.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's they look good on, these wins look great on paper, even though it is early for that whole ranking stuff. A lot that are in striking distance, a lot that would earn us probably a lot of even more press, probably more so from the AP poll and stuff, which we'll have to get the rank the Panthers going again this year, hopefully. Mm-hmm. These games would be big for that.
Yeah, so the lowest of the teams, or the only one outside the top 100 in Ken Pom, which is it's very early. Oregon State's at 175, but the other 5 teams are all within the top 100. The lowest of them being West Virginia at number 86, and that's because they lost a game. Who'd they lose to? I know they lost to someone silly.
Monmouth.
Yeah, they lost to Monmouth at home. Okay, yeah, that'll do it. But, yeah, these are quality teams. It's a little bit early for Ken Pom. We'll know. Obviously the data points will keep moving as games keep getting played, but game on paper, these are big games. And
the Baylor, I know that we don't really even control that as our own destiny, but a win over Baylor would be huge.
I think I would take going 2-3 with a win over West Virginia over 3-2 with a loss to West Virginia, just because I really want to beat them in basketball this
year. We need it. We need revenge from the brawl.
I kind of don't hate that.
We haven't beat them in basketball in a while, and I'm tired of them. So
Yeah, Baylor is currently ranked 15th in the AP poll, and they got a win over Auburn in their opening game, and then played John Brown, Gardner Webb, and Kansas City.
yeah, I mean Auburn, good program. So yeah, no Baylor. I think Baylor's got to be favored to win that tournament.
They've got to be minus odds, I would think.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, Florida be interesting. You say did we play Missouri before or after that tournament?
Missouri is the week after that tournament because the tournament is
it's like
it's a Wednesday and a Friday.
Yeah,
I want to
say next Wednesday.
The Wednesday game is Florida, and then the second game is I don't know why it's not showing me the bracket.
Everybody's got to beg their childhood town bar to put on the Pitt Florida game.
It's a 9:30 game on Wednesday, and then the third place in the championship game are on Friday. I think these are going to be on ESPN. I think it's an ESPN event at least.
Let's go. So the bar might actually have it.
It might just be on, yeah. Although it's not telling me how to watch it. I don't know. We'll figure this out. NIT tip off broadcast. How to watch. It's going to take me 8.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, broadcast on ESPN.
That's where let's go.
Yeah, game's on, baby. Let's watch it.
Well, easy access. Let's go. Love easy access to the Panthers.
Better than ACC Network, I'll tell you that much. Speaking of ACC Network, you guys want to talk some football?
No.
We got to do it anyway.
Yeah, we saw
it feels like giving a present
right by home plate.
Yeah, how were the seats, by the way? Those are that's like a weird place to watch a game, right?
It is weird. The field was going pretty much straight out from where home plate would be, so it wasn't kind of like angled like they do sometimes. But yeah, it was an interesting game to be at. We picked the right seats because it's basically either like you're sitting in the Panther pit type end zone type deal, or if you're on one of the sides, like if you want to be at the pit 50-yard line, you're pretty much all the way in the corner of the third base, like way
foul pole. You're by like the foul pole.
Yeah. And Yankee Stadium, like that was my first time in Yankee Stadium, but it's kind of an interesting shape where the corner kind of dives to the right too. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of games there. It's not the best place to see a game. It's definitely an interesting place. It's cool to say you've done it, but I don't know. I think if you're going to sit, probably those Panther Pit style seats are better. So I'm going to start off this game by reading you the Syracuse team passing line. 4 for 8, 17 yards, and a touchdown. And we lost 28-13. That's you ask, how did that happen? Well, if you're fortunate enough not to know, Syracuse ran 66 times for 382 yards at 5.8 yards a clip. That's how you lose a game. You have a tight end. A tight end turned into a Wildcat quarterback from Massapequa. That's 3 towns over from my hometown. 17 carries, 154 yards, and 9.1 yards per carry. And he was fucking unstoppable. They could not tackle him if their life depended on it.
It was disgusting, dude. It was like in the stands, all the Pitt fans just freaking out about this tight end playing Wildcat QB and just torching us by running up the middle for 10 yards a pop. Like, it was torture. It was cold. It was miserable game to be at, I'll be honest. First half, not awful, I guess. Some good things in the first half. Going with a lead. Second half, couldn't have been worse. But yeah, the tight end was tough.
It almost made it worse because Garrett Schrader's shoulder was like very clearly hurt. He was not a passing threat. They never even really schemed up any passing threat with this Wildcat stuff. It never felt like there was even a threat of passing, and we were still okay, have your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how many of those 4 completions were like shovel passes? I think like half of them, maybe even all 4 were shovel pass completions.
Well, the one they scored a touchdown was like they went heavy set on the goal line and did like a kind of flood concept and rolled Schrader out. And I mean, the guy was wide open. If it was the easiest throw in the world, like a lot of them were just it wasn't even real throws.
Yeah, that's I don't know, man. Like it just seemed like they were getting bullied all day. Nobody could tackle Villari, LaQuint Allen, even Garrett Schrader. And like you guys said, there was no beyond like the first quarter. There was even no threat of a Syracuse passing game, and yet they still always looked like they did not have the numbers. Like you just put 9 in the box against this team, and you make them throw. I mean, Dan Villari is I had to go through his 247 page. He is a converted quarterback. He actually enrolled at Michigan, which is interesting. But, I mean, come on. Come the fuck on. And that's just defense, right? The offense in this game was, once again, putrid and awful. I mean, Christian Veilleux, after the Louisville game, has just not looked good at all. I mean, he's got a barely over 50% completion percentage. He threw a pick 6 that couldn't have been better fucking thrown to the safety that was just waiting for it. He had 2 fumbles on zone read handoffs that just looked like a miscommunication, like they don't practice it at all. And then to cap it off, the game ends on a fumble, which I turned the game off at this point. I'm just looking at the play-by-play here. But 4 turnovers and not being able to stop the run. I mean, 4 turnovers that keep your defense on the field. You're going to lose a game like this. And we say it every week. Frank Cinetti shouldn't have a job. I know they're not going to fire him because that's not how they work, but this is just pitiful. They can't even run the ball. They had 21 carries for 60 yards. That's 2.9 yards an attempt. Their longest run of the day was 11 yards. Fuck. It feels like all this team can do is hit one long pass play to Bub Means or Renata, and then they're just like, yeah, we're good. But that's it. That's all the offense for the day.
Yeah, the back to the pick 6. Say what you want about the defense. They did get gashed. They also turned it over a couple times. Like they did get some turnovers, and that goal line stop was a huge opportunity to kind of shift the game. And then immediately, I can't remember if it was the first play after that. I think they ran once up the middle, and then we had the Phil Jerkovich-esque interception from Veilleux. Yeah. But that was, I think, when Kent and I decided to leave the stadium.
I think that's about the time I turned off the game. I might have gotten to the first Yarnell drive, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm gonna take a nap.
It was probably like, if you could like track the viewership from Pittsburgh of this game, it was probably like as soon as that happened, just all the TVs in Oakland and Northside, like everything just shut off.
Yeah, it was funny because I don't know, being at this game, there were some Syracuse fans around us. They're pretty much equally as miserable. So in that regard, both teams just kind of laughing about how bad both our teams are. So,
but it's you have fun when your team can't throw the ball, but they can still run it. Like, for what it's worth, this must be like watching Army every weekend. And this is like a good Army game. If Army runs for 3-2, you're losing to them. Us, it's just like we can't even laugh about how bad we are.
Mason and I were just taking the cup holders off the seats. You can do that at Yankee Stadium. We can figure it out. So
we did. Let the record show we did not steal them. The thought absolutely crossed my mind to bring a little part of Yankee Stadium home with me, but like the good Samaritan I am, I left it better than I found it.
It was catch and release.
It's catch and release. I've never sat in that part of Yankee Stadium. Those seats are a little bit too pricey for the old Yankee fan.
Side note, Yankee Stadium fire chicken tenders.
They're so good. Did you get the bucket with the fries?
Yeah.
Dude, that is the best thing to get at Yankee Stadium.
They were fire.
Great honey mustard, but they don't give you enough of it.
Yep.
Do they not have the squeeze things? I thought they were a squeeze pump facility.
They might do that for the regular mustard, but they keep that honey goodness on lock behind the counter.
Oh. You know what? That's probably the best part of the day, right? Chicken tenders, good chicken tender bucket.
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
everything else
you're
fucking-
paying $15 at Yankee Stadium for chicken tenders. You're paying $15 at a lot of other stadiums for chicken tenders. But I'll tell you what, my $15 went to a lot better quality chicken tenders and fries at Yankee Stadium. So, compliments to the chef.
compliments to the guy who got the frozen chicken tenders out of a bag, dumped them into a fryer, and was like, "Fuck, you got to make more of these."
Fries were solid, dude. Everything was it was chef's kiss.
For everything about Yankee Stadium, they do the food well there. That it's expensive, but they do it well. I will say that. Okay.
Other than that,
on
I
the
don't want
list.
to talk about the game anymore. That was horrendous.
Sorry, one last thing we got to talk about. Is it Nate Yarnell time? After
Apparently.
So, Pat Narduzzi is always being coy about who's going to start this week against Boston College tonight, if you're listening to this episode, I guess. At this point, I think that the turnovers from the air have just been too crippling to the team. Obviously, it took us out of the Notre Dame game. It definitely took us out of this game. Honestly, moving into the Boston College preview, just fucking start Phil. I think that would be funny.
Damn straight.
Dude,
How can we get a Phil revenge game if he's not even in there? At least we need something. We need something from Phil. I never thought I'd say it.
Yeah,
We need a Phil drive. I think we need a Phil drive.
we need Phil. Sometimes you got to go back to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Matthew McConaughey.
Do you think that we could have a Dan Villari type situation with Phil against Boston College, just running him every play?
What do we have to lose? What does he have to lose? Like
Nothing.
except there's no shot that we would be able to do that. But
Oh no, Phil would get blown up behind the line of scrimmage every time. Yeah,
Real
Boston
late
College.
Heisman run.
Honestly, in this game, all I'm looking for is a Phil Dracovic score. Everything else, we're probably going to lose. Even though it's fucking Boston College, I don't care. We're probably going to fucking lose.
favored by 3 points. Favored by 3 points.
How the fuck are we favored? We're terrible.
Why do they keep doing this to us?
He can't keep getting away with this.
Is there like an injury I don't know about? Like, how the fuck are we favored?
Dude, you know how many people are going to try and go to watch Thursday night Ravens Bengals and they turn on ESPN because they have no idea what channel it's on, and it's just Pitt Boston College.
Am I going to be watching this game? Possibly. Probably. I'll probably watch at least the first half. Against my will, probably. I do make decisions that are bad for me. I'm not seeing any fucking injuries. They've got a linebacker, a D end, and a running back. That's it. What the fuck? Don't bet on Pitt. Please don't bet on Pitt. It's not just a smart decision with your money.
Bet on Pitt basketball. They play Friday. Let's get the spirits high going into Saturday, where there's not a Pitt football game.
Dude, I can't believe Boston College won the Phil Dracovic trade with a quarterback with the last name Castellanos. Like, I just can't believe it. Oh, there is a YouTube video from CBS 8. Could injuries hurt Boston College against Pitt? I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Fuck. If we win this game, I don't know. It would be funny. But, yeah. I don't know. Who cares?
Win it for
Who
the
cares?
senior.
Play Phil.
At this point, I'm preying on the downfall.
Well, Narduzzi's already coming back per Heather Like.
Okay, so there was never a question if he was coming back. I know that Texas A&M just fired Jimbo and they're paying him $70 million to fuck off. Pitt cannot afford like a $30 to $40 million buyout for Pat Narduzzi. It is not happening.
Heather Like, she was in New York. She was at Billy's before the game. She gave a little pep talk. It didn't work for us.
Yeah, it was actually like the worst pep talk of all time. There was a couple people trying to get us hyped up, and it just didn't work. I mean, the athletic director isn't exactly going to give a Matt Rule level locker room speech, but
No.
the Pat Narduzzi thing,
it's wanting to run through a brick wall.
I mean, we got to get our NIL fund up because I don't know if you guys saw the check that Texas A&M was kind of bolstering at their halftime of their game, but I think it was like $160 million they had donated from boosters and other stuff. Last time I checked, we have our goal of 1 million.
Yep. I was gonna say, I think I saw a goal of 1 mil from a line.
Our goal is 1 mil. Yeah, we're halfway there. We're halfway there.
Yeah, no, we are making some progress, but gonna need some more oil money to get to that kind of level where we're buying Pat Narduzzi out.
Nobody's taking any Christmas presents. Ask for money toward the 412 fund.
Dude, we should get the like the fracking billionaires in Pennsylvania. They probably give all their money to Penn State. Let's be real, but
yeah, how'd that work?
Well, you know what? They fired their OC, so I don't know why we can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh well. Want to talk about some other games that aren't as bad?
Yes.
Are we talking last week at all, or is that dust in the wind at this point?
I've got some scores from last week that at least I want to touch on first.
Let's do a speed run.
Speed run. UVA 24, Louisville 31. Louisville looked like they were going to freak a weeknight game to a bad UVA team, but ended up winning. The UVA running back who got hurt and carted off the field is showing signs of improvement, so good for him. Just wanted to make a note of that because that was a pretty scary injury. And Louisville, with this win, just has to win this week against Miami to lock up the other spot in the ACC championship. Next up, Ole Miss 17, Georgia 52. Folks, Georgia's back. They're not getting stopped. Without Jim Harbaugh, Michigan beats Penn State 24-15. They did not throw a pass or complete a pass in the second half. Miami 20, Florida State 27. Florida State survives a scare here. They have gone undefeated in ACC play, and I believe they have a SoCon Saturday game before playing Florida in rivalry week. And also, I believe Miami was on their third-string quarterback, but he got hurt again. Then Tyler Van Dyke lost them the game. Next up, Washington 35, Utah 28. This was really fun. Did you guys see this game at all?
Did not catch a whole lot of this one, no.
This is an excellent game, a lot of scoring. Did you guys see the Washington defensive back drop the pick six about a yard clear of the end zone?
No.
We didn't catch a lot of football outside of Yankee Stadium, if we're being honest.
I figured you guys might have seen this one going around because do you guys remember years ago when I think it was a Oregon-Utah game where someone tried to return a pick six, drop the ball a yard clear of the end zone, then the other team brings it back for a score?
What? Yeah, I do remember that game, actually.
Okay, so this happened, but instead of bringing it back for a score, Utah recovers it, and then 2 plays later, Washington scores a safety. But yeah, just excellent game. Washington, I believe, is the number 4 team in the country now, or maybe number 5, but they deserve it. Oregon 36, USC 27. Goodbye. USC has a chance to go 7-5. Texas 29, TCU 26. Texas is begging for a loss to take them out of the college football playoff. Missouri 36, Tennessee 7. I only want to shout out this game because Mizzou running back Cody Schrader had 205 rushing yards and 116 receiving yards in this game. The what the fuck score of the week, UCF 45, Oklahoma State 3. Coming off their upset of Oklahoma in Bedlam, they shit their pants.
That one really should have been on Wouldn't It Be Funny Watch. Hand up, that one's on me.
I don't think any of us could have seen this coming. And then 2 other games I want to shout out real quick. Texas A&M 51, Mississippi State 10. Obviously, neither one of these programs like what they saw because they both fired their coaches right after this game. And then Hawaii 27, Air Force 13. No idea what's going on with Air Force, but something weird's happening. The Mountain West is now wide open for other teams like Brendan Marion's UNLV to come and take it. That was your Week 11 speed run. Week 12.
One more thing on Week 11. Rutgers, Iowa. Easiest under ever. Keep taking them. Don't stop.
They keep doing it.
Also,
I believe of our over-under parlay, that's the only hit because I don't.
Yeah, the Oregon USC, the Christmas matchup with the Grinch the over we called did not hit.
the Grinch really stole it.
The Grinch stole our over. That's what happened.
the Grinch who stole you over. I like it.
Side note on Texas, news reports that Ewers is reportedly going back to Texas next year. So,
Ooh,
we
do
get
you
a
think
little-
that was an Arch? Do you think that was an Arch Manning's plans when he committed?
exactly?
Is Arch Manning going to go into the transfer portal?
Arch Manning's going to come to Pitt.
Yeah, totally.
Arch Manning to Pitt started now.
I think we're going to need more than $500,000 in the NIL chest to get Arch Manning to Pitt. But
Make it
All right, week
700,000. Make it 510,000.
yeah. Week 12, it is SoCon Saturday. This slate fucking stinks. But I'm going to make up for it. There are actually some really good FCS games, and I know, FCS, you have to go to ESPN+, but there are some good ones. So starting out in the noon slate, which this is actively terrible, but the biggest weekend or the biggest game in this slate is Louisville at Miami. Like I said before, Louisville can lock up their place in the ACC title game. They can keep Virginia Tech and UNC out. And the website is playing music and all like that. They can keep them out, and it can be Louisville, Florida State, no matter what happens in the other games, because their last games are against SEC teams, therefore don't count against your ACC record.
Quick poll. What would you guys say if I told you that Miami was favored in this game?
What? I'm just
Again,
saying
this is per ESPN. It might be different on the betting apps you're currently using, but we do have ESPN Bet now, so maybe I don't know how that works. But I'm seeing Miami as a half-point favorite, so pick them, but technically favored it in this game.
I don't understand that at all because Tyler Van Dyke's going to be starting for Miami, and he's fucking awful. Louisville's the number 10 team in the country, and even though Jack Plummer's not great, Louisville, outside of the worst loss in the country to us, has been a good team. Don't understand that one at all. That seems like easy money if you push the line a couple points.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Miami has a home field advantage to talk about.
Exactly. They're playing at what will probably be a fairly empty Hard Rock Stadium at the noon slate.
Yep.
Weird one.
Yeah, I mean, your other games here are Michigan at Maryland, Rutgers at Penn State. Neither of these really move the needle for me. It would be pretty funny if Rutgers' defense shut down a bad Penn State offense, but I don't see Rutgers being able to move the ball in that Penn State defense.
I'm seeing on FanDuel, by the way, Louisville -1.5. So,
well, ESPN app just went live in a lot of states today. If their lines are current with what's on their website, you should go take that. This is not an ad.
No SpawnCon. I'm not really seeing anything else in this slate that even really interests me. It's a lot of SoCon stuff, a lot of bad Big Ten teams playing. So instead of that, 2 p.m. comes around. Fire up ESPN because you're going to want to see Montana State at Montana, the Brawl of the Wild. This is the number 3 and number 4 FCS teams playing for an automatic bye in the playoffs. Probably going to be a snow game. Snow football is the best football you can have. This is just my selling point. I watched this game last year. It was a ton of fun. And if you have, a laptop you can put in next to your setup, this is the game to have on because none of the other games in this slate are good, and it'll get you through to the 3:30 slate where there are actually some interesting games. And I'm going to make us watch this one. That's my promise. Okay, moving on the slate. We've got Utah at Arizona, 2:30 p.m. on the Pac-12 network. If you get it, just fun game. No real implications for title races or playoff. Just two good teams going at it. 3:30, Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia is a 10-point favorite on the road, and I think that line is a little bit too low after their beatdown of Ole Miss.
I agree. If we're going to get that Tennessee offense, Georgia might win by 50.
I just don't understand why Tennessee is stuck with Joe Milton because the offense looked terrible last week. Ole Miss is at least more of a consistent offense than Tennessee, and I don't think that Georgia's going to have anything or Tennessee's going to have anything to stop Georgia. So it's the CBS game, but I'm not really interested in this one.
We'll see. That'll be check the score, see where that one's at. But I've been wrong before, but I could see Georgia running away with this one.
That's what I think as well. Next up, weekly Iowa check, 3:30 on FS1. Illinois at Iowa, over under of 30.5. It went up.
They saw the dynamic offense of Illinois and said, "Hold on, folks, we got to bump this up a couple points."
Well, I believe Illinois is getting their starting quarterback back for this week, Luke Altmaier, who has thrown 10 interceptions this year.
Nice.
In limited playing time. So I'm going to call a pick 6 in this game. Just a thought there. Also in this slate, 3:30 ESPN, North Carolina at Clemson. I just see North Carolina win this one because it would have Clemson's first losing record in the ACC in God knows how long. They would go 3-5 this year instead of 4-4. No real thoughts on this game. I have two okay teams going at it. No thoughts.
Yeah, I like that. I like Clemson losing record in the ACC, though. That would be – this isn't my wouldn't it be funny game, but that would be funny.
Right. Did I pass your wouldn't it be funny yet?
We're coming up on it in the 4 o'clock slate.
The 4 o'clock. Okay. One last on the 3:30 slate, ABC, UCLA at USC. There is no, there's a lot of shine off this game, but it's just an awesome uniform matchup. That's the only reason I shouted out. It is a visually pleasing game to watch.
That is very two classics going at it, honestly.
All right. 4 o'clock, I believe you have a wouldn't it be funny for us?
I do. It is not just a wouldn't it be funny. This might be the first ever wouldn't it be hilarious because we're going to the whole way to the number 2 ranked team in the country and the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I know it's in the shoe. It's in Columbus. But it would be very funny that just before Michigan week, Ohio State drops a dud. You got a little look-ahead game. Am I also picking this selfishly because I picked Minnesota to win that half of the Big Ten? Maybe. Is this the most plausible? Wouldn't it be funny? No, but it might be. It would make things very interesting.
I'm going to upgrade this one. This is a wouldn't it be absurd. Minnesota is one of the Big Ten's worst offenses, and Ohio State has, you could argue the best defense in the nation. If they were to pull this one out, it would be absurdly funny. And sure, why not? I don't think Minnesota pulls it off, but this is a reach.
Yeah, you might be reaching, but hey.
That's why it's funny, folks.
Exactly. That's the spirit of the pick. Next up in the 5 o'clock slate, if all these games get out of hand, you've got North Dakota State going to Northern Iowa at 5 p.m. ESPN+. These are two teams fighting for a playoff bid. And you might be wondering, why is North Dakota State fighting for a playoff bid? They're usually the best team in FCS. Wrong. They're not. They're 7-3 this year. They lost to all 3 other Dakota schools, and they need this one to get into the playoffs, folks. So this is a game with a lot of juice on it for both these teams. Moving into the night slate, 7 o'clock FS1, Kansas State at Kansas. This is a good rivalry game. Tune in. 3:30 games will be winding down. Probably most of them will be solved. Just tune into this one if Kansas has a decent starting quarterback. If they're going to the 3rd string, this one might be a dud. So this is a injury watch game. 7:30 ABC, Washington at Oregon State. Now, did you guys see this today that Oregon State and Washington State got legal control over the Pac-12 from the other 10 schools?
So what does that just solidify them as the last two? Like they can stay in the Pac-12 if they want.
They own like the brand, the rights. I think they get some sort of money payout based on whatever. I'm not too certain of the details, but if I were picking a Wouldn't It Be Funny game, this is the one here. You get control of the brand, you get some control of the money, and then on the way out, you kick Washington in the dick and tell them you're not going to the playoff this year.
Here's the thing. You can't pick a favorite, and wouldn't it be funny? That's the number one rule.
Well, their favorite? Oh, my God. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. You're right from all over aspects of this game, but that's kind of like the first box I check about wouldn't it be funny is they got to be a dog. So unless the line moves, this is kind of another one with the Miami-Louisville situation where I know Oregon State's a very good team, but like Washington coming in at number 5 feels like they deserve at least a pick 'em there because we got Oregon State at 2.5 where I see it.
So that's telling you on a neutral field this would be a pick'em game. They're giving that all for your home field advantage. mean, the Oregon State offense has been cooking the last couple weeks. Washington does not have the best defense in the world. This one is probably the best game of the entire weekend.
Yeah, I'm hammering Washington, dude.
Kent's coming in. The Washington Hammer has been swung.
The purple hammer has dropped.
Purple Hammer. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I have any other notes on games here.
I have a
late night slate is.
I have a Christmas matchup of the week, boys.
Do tell.
It's a unique Christmas matchup of the week. My Christmas matchup of the week, ladies and gentlemen, is Pitt versus nobody on Saturday. So my gift to you is you do not have to watch this team on Saturday.
This is a Christmas matchup. It's a Christmas matchup because Pitt is like a bad Christmas. They got no gifts. No gifts.
So yeah. I'm delivering a gift this week, and it's not watching this Pitt football team.
I love it.
All right, that's going to do it for us this week. If you like the show, follow us on Twitter at Simple5Pod. Rate the show 5 stars. It helps us out. And, we'll see you next week.
Hail to Pitt.
Beat the Eagles.
Start Phil.